Hey everybody, and welcome to Libromancy, a podcast about the magic of books. I'm Josh, and today I'm going to be talking about the Tyrant Baru Cormorant, Book 3 in the Masquerade by Seth Dickinson. So let's sail with the magic of books. I'm going to start with a little bit of our non-spoiler section, but it's going to be pretty short. And to be truthful, I did not finish this book. I got almost 50%, and I was struggling with it so much. When I am actively looking for a reason to avoid reading the book instead of just reading the book, then I know that I'm not enjoying it, and then it's time for me to put it down. So, again though, his writing, Seth Dickinson's writing, is excellent. The world he has created is like a fully realized world. Everything interacts with each other and connects. I don't believe he's left anything out of that. You change trade in one part of the world, and it's going to affect the world like it would in the real world, like it would here. The characters are vivid for the most part. They're wonderful. Again, sometimes when they use regular words, it throws me out of the story. Uranium, meningitis, which is fine. It's a disease, right? Like, that's fine. But like, they just, like in cancer, those ones, they just throw me off every time I read it. Now, a little bit just in regards to how the story set up itself. It starts with a frame story, which I thought was great. However, the frame story is, we only get it a couple times, at least in the first half. And it was good, but it was not enough to really make me want to keep going. Like, I was worried / excited to see how they were going to get to where they were at, but getting there was difficult. Again, the flashbacks, I hated. I didn't care. I didn't care what Itinerant was doing, however many years ago it was. Sorry, that's a slight spoiler, but it's same in the second book, so if you've read that one, but just, it just bothered me. I could not get into them and reconnect them with our main story. You can, but I'm not going to get into it. I did not enjoy the flashbacks. The plot, I really wish we'd been able to see Baru doing Baru things. She is portrayed as a hyper-competent individual. Rarely do I get to see her being hyper-competent in this story. Most of the time, she is struggling by the skin of her teeth, working against the other cryptarchs and barely getting by. And, it was a coincidence that she was saved, and coincidence that this happened, but they're all her plans, and it just didn't work for me. So let's actually get into the spoilers, and I can talk about, what exactly is good and what exactly is bad about this. Like I said, the atmosphere of the world, that's beautiful, completely realized. His writing is excellent. He has many great parts. His word choice is usually great. There's a couple scenes where I just laughed at what he chose, like Aminata's talking, and she's like, that was like somebody going to the market and buying a cantaloupe to eat. But maybe that's just because I don't like cantaloupe. And I was like, haha, that was pretty funny, kind of. It doesn't like work 100%, but like it is pretty funny. Yeah, just that. Let's see, the plot. The plot is good. The plot is that now that she's found the Cancrioth, she has to find them, convince them of whatever, to destroy the Empire, to, figure out how to take them down, to give to Cardine Fisher. Who knows? But that's the plot. Like, it's just so nebulous. I did not enjoy it. Let's talk about the frame story, because that's going to work into our plot a little bit. So the frame story is that Baru is talking to Itinerant, Cardine Fisher, her trainer, master, leader, and she has returned. She's found the Cancrioth, given him information. Cardine Fisher's so excited, he's going to publish it. They're going to be able to take down the Oriati, and they're going to expand the Empire once again. But that there's something going on, and I felt that it ruined a little bit of the suspense with Baru. Like, that she's going to be okay because the books are all about her. But at the same time, I felt like a little bit of it was taken, because we see that she's she's fine in that situation. So we know that no matter what happens, she's going to get out of it. And, that bothered me a little bit. It's not that big of a thing, but it did. Let's talk about some other things. I loved her and Aminata getting together and kind of like talking and like trying to be like friends and be like, yeah, like I am your friend. We are together. We're in this. And then Aminata in taking down Ormsmint, because Ormsmint's trying to kill Baru this whole time because Ormsmint thinks Baru wants to start a war. She goes on the ship and then she dies in like a very nice self-sacrifice way. And then she's like 4 more chapters later, she's alive. And I was like, well, that just means that no character is going to die until I see the body. And maybe that's just a good habit to have when I'm reading anyway. But it was not in this book. Not in this series. I shouldn't have to see the body. The way it's just like it was such a perfect death. And then he ruined it by bringing her back. And I was like, that was such... It was like... It would be like if he brought Tainhu back at the end of book 2. Like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Tainhu survived. She didn't really get beat to death on the rocks as the tide came in. And it's like, no, you don't do that. The other thing I did not like is Baru. This part really kind of bothered me, is that in the second book, in the end of the first book, she gets hit in the head. And then in the second book, she has lost, her world is split. She can only see the left side of her, out of her eye, right? She's all left-handed. She still can use her right hand and everything, but she can only see out of her left eye. And it's a huge thing throughout the whole book. This is like the price she paid for betraying Ardwin and the cost. And then we learned that her right half, her brain has been kind of like split in two when she got hit, and her right side of her brain, or whatever side of it is that's controlling like her right eye, can still see, and if she gets poisoned with a certain thing, she can kind of interact with it, but it's molded Baru's personality on that side of her brain after Tainhu. So the way it's explained is like her normal side brain, the one that's in charge all the time, is just Baru, and the other side of her brain is Baru modeled after how Baru thinks Tainhu would think of Baru, which is very confusing. And apparently that half of her brain is just incredibly smart, and smarter than Baru, period, because it has plots within plots that, it's writing letters that Baru doesn't see. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, if Baru's writing a letter, then she's going to see it and write it, and then she's not going to know, like, oh yeah, my hand just, I didn't feel it keep moving. Not like it just, I felt like it really ripped that out of her character. I just didn't like it. That's fine. Yawa, that's another thing. I did not like the point of view shifts with Yawa and Severe and Tainshir. We got a couple of hers, and they almost worked. They were very close. Some of them were good, some of them were bad, but on the whole, they felt more like I need to get this information to the reader, but I can't do it through Baru because that would be too unrealistic. And so we switch and get it from them. And I just didn't like it again. Sorry, that's kind of how it is. I wanted to talk about, this was a funny thing. I kind of like this, just thought it was more funny. The clarified, the special people who've been trained to react to a special keyword, do whatever they're told, incredible memory, incredible physical prowess. All the clarified that we've seen have broken free by repeating their own command word. Now, if this isn't a huge flaw in Hesychist's plan, I don't know what is. The fact that every clarified we've seen, after a certain period of time, can start using their own command word on themselves and will break free and will choose to, do whatever they want. And I was just like, that's so funny. Like, that's so, like, they're so pointless then. They're good for like a month or two, but then they have to go back and retrain, and you can't do that with the whole population like you want. Like, that's his goal, is to have it all be, in genetic memory. Did not like that. Again, Severe, I felt like he was just a whiny little brat. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. Why are you doing this? I'm so worried about my Linden. I barely have any plots going on. So tired of him. But he's the only one with the boat. Now, by the time I got to the end of this, the spot that really, really kind of threw me out is they've been working around this island trying to stop the kettling from spreading, which is a kind of like a super plague. She's been working with the Cancrioth, then she got kicked out, then back and forth, and then we learn that Tainshir confronts her and is like, you're going to have to die. And Baru is willing to die, but she kind of breaks Farrier's like hold on her that he had. She points out all the different things that he's done to trick her into being the perfect obedient person. And she's kind of breaking free of this, but then, which was cool. That part was kind of cool. I'm not sure why Tainshir did it. Like, I find a little bit of inconsistency in Tainshir. First, she wants to kill Baru because she killed Tainhu. Then she decides, well, I don't need to just kill Baru. I need to break her out of Cardine Fisher's, control. Make sure she sees that she is the puppet she is, and that everything has been manufactured to produce this result. And then we see that that Tainshir is playing this like second game above and beyond with Icend, the Clarified. And Icend is like, we need Baru. I'm here to protect Baru. And Tainshir's like, no, you're trying to force Baru to be, what she shouldn't be. And I just did not care for that. I really felt like Tainshir was wildly inconsistent. She talks about how she's just an agent of chaos. She does what she does. She broke free because she lost all meaning. She gave up all of her meaning. Anything that could mean anything to her. Yet she kept enough of her meaning to like go find Baru's dad, who was kidnapped and knows where he is, and to kidnap her parents on her own to protect them, but use them as blackmail against Baru. And it just got way too convoluted for me, and way too, we're on this level, and now we're going to the next level, and the next level, and it's just going to keep going up. And they were talking in the book, and Baru's like, yeah, I'm a Cryptarch. My power is absolute, but to use my power, I have to touch the world. The more I influence things, the less powerful I am, because the more people can find me. And they're like, yeah, there's us 5 Cryptarchs. There's, Itinerant, Hesychist, Yara, Yawa, Severe, and me. And they're like, you think there's only 5 of you? Like, there's Cryptarchs you wouldn't even know. You're just a provincial Cryptarch. Like, you don't even know the real Cryptarchs. And it's like, what? You're just gonna keep upping that ante. Oh no, you're not a Cryptarch. You're like a lower Cryptarch. Now you gotta like work up the big Cryptarchs. And it's like, no, I don't. I didn't like that. I wanted to talk about the Cancrioth. Very, very creepy, but a very cool situation. Unfortunately, there is no magic. It's just old technology, uranium, plutonium, whatever stuff, cancer. So the brain lives the shortest amount of time. That's one of their positions. They've got a bunch. They've got the brain, the eye, and the womb are the ones that we see here. Now, the brain obviously has cancer implanted into their brain, but this cancer is cool because it can retain memories, and they can retain this line. So the brain, who has access to these memories, can remember like all the way back to when it first kind of started. But her memories are super confusing and trickery, and she can't really tell what's the past and what's happening right now sometimes. But the more she works, and does like things in the present, the more helps her. But that was cool. The eye has cancer like literally growing out of his eyes, and he has an eye stalk, kind of like, so it's like sticking out, and just super creepy. But obviously that cancer affects the things he sees, and supposedly he can see things, but again, not that I'm aware of. And the womb, that was super creepy. Obviously it's a womb, and they stick the cancer in there, and it just hangs there. No real powers there, but they transfer the cancer, piece by piece to new people. And the brain makes an offer to Baru that if she'll take some of there's other types of cancer that they breed that are dangerous and will just evolve too fast and kill you too quickly. And if Baru is willing to take some of this cancer into her, that the brain will give her the kettling, give her whatever she wants to help take down the Empire. And she rejects the offer, and I was like, finally, a good decision where you feel like you have the power. So, the Cancryath, though, super creepy. Yeah, unfortunately, they're whale, not magic, just a whale with cancer and a big cancer bone that they've basically just trained to follow fish and uranium lights and stuff and train. And I was a little disappointed in that, but it is what it is. So, again, this is a good book if you really like it. If you liked the second book, you have to really like the second book, I think, because it's just more of the same. It felt like a little bit of a slog to me. But another question I had about the series is the traitor, like the titles of the book. Traitor Baru Cormorant, because she's a traitor to Arduin or the Falcresti Empire. Different times you're not sure who she's actually portraying. The number 2, monster, I could kind of see because she's kind of a monster, but she doesn't actually do any super monstrous things in the second one. And then Tyrant Baru is she's still the lowest of the low cryptarchs. She's not even close to being a tyrant. I just don't know where the names are coming from. The first name was very apt, I thought, very spot on. The other names and titles of the books, not so much. So, oh well, take it as you will. I really, really wish that we'd had more of Baru being able to do things that Baru is really skilled at. See her in her element, either in accounting or in maneuvering, instead of being rushed from place to place with plans within plans that are being laid that we can't understand or don't have enough information to see, mixed with all these other plans and confusions and changes that are happening. So, yeah, I gave it a 3 stars. The writing is excellent. The world is well crafted, but the plot really meandered, at least the first half of this book, enough that I just couldn't keep reading it. So, unfortunately, that's going to wrap up my discussion of Tyrant Baru Cormorant. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks again, of course, to David Hillowitz for the intro and outro music. If you have any questions or comments, you can send those to libromancypod@gmail.com. Of course, you can find me on Twitter sometimes at libromancypod. We have a calendar up on the website at libromancy.podbean.com showing what books are coming up next if you want to keep track and see what's, read ahead. And please like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from, of course. And remember to sail with the magic of books.